Hey, what's up guys? It's Oakley and we're going to be doing a online massive battle. So the rules for this one is we were doing Parthia against the Greeks. So our opponents decided to choose Macedon. So we're going to be sailing here with a small fleet of ships over to the flank. And as I said, it was going to be Parthia against the Greeks and the enemy chose Macedon. The rules were that we were not to bring too many heavy cav. There is also restrictions in place to keep it semi-historically accurate. So for instance, we don't have any elephants, and artillery were supposed to be restricted. The opponents also were supposed to just bring hoplites, so you can see that the enemies did follow this rule. We were trying to present a battle similar to that at Marathon. Now I was hoping they would bring Athenians, but they decided to opt with Sparta, so that's fine. We're still going to have a pretty epic engagement here. Also, if you don't remember, by pressing Alt-K you can get this cinematic view. So on the left we're going to have a pretty heavy force up here, reinforced by 3 of these Scorpion units, and they're going to be starting to put the fire on our troops in the distance. And this is a pretty good defensive force. It's going to be holding us back. They're going to be starting to pick off our troops here as they move forward. However, we're going to get a good charge with our cavalry here. Take a look at the distance, just infantry charging forward in the back. Some cavalry getting picked off, but the rest of our forces will be moving forward. In the far distance, we are going to have some more troops coming up soon. But here, reinforced by the heavy cav, we're going to be able to make pretty big impact. They're going to be charging straight into this line of archers. So they're picking off these horsemen. We can get pretty close and just see this. I mean, hail of fire, taking out all these Persian troops. However, this is just going to be essentially a holding force, trying to bait these archers, exchange with them, and then we're going to have the more heavily armed male troops. However, these skirmishers are just doing ridiculous amounts of damage. So a big line of troops here. Cretan archers definitely backing this hill. Tons of arrows going, and on the lower parts of the battlefield you can see more troops moving out. Excuse me, additional cavalry forces over there. More engagements going on here. An exchange of missiles, the hoplites are ready, and closing the gap is going to be these troops here, very lightly armed troops. Now if we're going to continue on here, I'm going to show you this. This is a cavalry pushing through the center, hoping to split these troops. What's happening over here is we're going to be engaging with these guys. My own elite Persian archers were picking off these troops. The hoplites are now going to be moving up into position, and our troops on the beach are going to be landing. This is going to be our flanking force. Here they come off the ships, the reinforcements for the perfect flank on this hoplite force. And we have now engaged with our cavalry and additional troops picking off these forces. The Macedonian cavalry are strong, but we do have some armored cataphracts, camels right here, doing pretty good amounts of damage and just scaring the hell out of these horses. I also have reinforcements here running around chasing off infantry, and we have shattered the enemy forces here. So the Cappadocians are definitely doing their best to wreak havoc amongst the enemy lines. Let's go back and take a look at the engagement on this side. So we have been able to push the top with our heavy cataphracts. They're going to be contending with the Macedonian heavy cav here. However, they are reinforced by these archers who will be putting on additional support fire. The push in the center was not doing very well. That's why we're going to be reinforcing with more of these cataphracts who should be charging down this hill relatively soon. We're committing more and more troops to this side of the battle. However, there's going to be additional reinforcements here. A massive onslaught of horses. The Macedonians have decided to rally here and push out the Cappadocians in the center. We do have artillery trying to hit this, and additional archers just sending in their fire. Look at this. Definitely a missile exchange with the best of our archers picking off some of these troops. Now let's go back to this side of the battlefield, zoom over all the action and the exchange is going on here. Basically, I've focus fired onto these troops, so this skirmisher base is going to be taken up by my own troops here, lined up, and now I'm going to be getting some nice cross shots. The hoplites decided that it was their best idea to just charge forward across the plain, sort of like they did at Marathon, and now we're going to engage with the bulk of my troops, engaging on all fronts, hitting his guys. Now, my forces here are not going to hold up very significantly against his hoplites, but what we lack perhaps in quality, we have more in quantity. So the naval landings on this side are now going to be pushing forward. They're going to be coming to reinforce, and look right over here, we're going to be able to wrap up the remainder of these troops and start swinging around this side of the battle. The massive engagement taking place here is pretty awesome. If we look at the maps, it looks like our forces here in the near ground have been able to take out the Macedonians. We're getting the surround. They're starting to retreat. The Macedonian cav broke through, killed our guys here, and now they're going to be having a combined assault on the remainder of our troops here. That's going to be a problem because they're going to be left holding the hill. You see they're picking off our men here. Our heavy cataphracts are going to be facing. It looks like they did bring a couple pike units, so they did sort of cheat, I guess, but that's fine. As long as they didn't have long lines of pikes, that was alright. More hoplites coming in, and they're going to be able to repel our forces here and really force them back. Additionally, these archers are still here, point blank shooting into these guys. Now we're going to be finishing off these troops. Essentially destroyed the hoplite wall here because of my troops that could outnumber his thin wall really couldn't hold up. They needed that reinforcements that were deployed over there. They really should have come and helped these hoplites fall back. In any case, the forces that my opponent does have left are just going to be at the mercy of my archers here, just picking them off at a distance. More of my troops coming, but always take a look at what's happening in the hill. That's going to be where the opponents are winning. So they're doing actually relatively low damage, mostly because these are going to be the cheapest archers you can get, not the elite Persians, but really basic archer units. So they don't do much damage, but just the quantity of arrows they put in the air is pretty incredible. So it's going to be enough to harass these troops, force them to start falling back. And over here, we're going to be sandwiching whatever remaining hoplites. So they are noble in holding out like this, but it's not going to be enough, especially with more and more troops streaming in. The reinforcements that came off from the ships are going to be doing good amounts of damage in the backs of these troops. We've now finished off these forces here. Some small engagement still remaining, so I'm going to be picking off these troops from the back with my elite Persians. These guys do really good amounts of damage, and I am going to just help pick these guys off, so they're going to break soon. The rest of our troops are going to be reforming. We're going to the aid of the remaining troops over here. So we've been basically ousted from the hill, and the remaining troops are going to be these really weak Persian light archers who are kind of left just to taunt these hoplites. At least the hoplites are very slow at this point, so we can hold them off and do decent amounts of damage, although it looks like they may be out of ammo at this point. I hadn't realized during the battle that they were actually out of ammo. So here comes the hoplites, pretty daunting in their approach and their charge of these guys. More of them up on the hill, coming down, backed up by the perfect wedge formation led by the seemingly the king of this army here, coming down. But take a look at the plain. We're going to be coming back with reinforcements. So over here we are going to be baiting these hoplites, charging him. We're going to send one of our generals, and now it's going to be almost a rescue mission. So I'm going to be pushing these archers forward. They're going to be giving the covering fire. So take a look at this. Our troops are going to be engaging with these Macedonians, doing pretty good amounts of damage and trying to draw them back. Now we're going to have supporting fire from these archers. They're going to be lining up, and they're going to be offering covering fire for these guys as they retreat past the Macedonians. Anyone who comes into range is just going to be picked off right here. So that's going to be enough to rally the remainder of our troops right here, and all it's going to do is leave the remaining cavalry dead or injured at least. So we're going to be able to finish those guys off, and it's going to allow us to reform the main of our body here. Now, the remainder of our troops up here were taken out, and it looks like the last bit of the archers are going to be just holding out here. We were trying to pull them back, but we realized actually they're out of ammo. So they're basically just going to be here to bait the cavalry off the hill, do anything we can do to get them tired. And hopefully, if these archers can make it back to base, then if they're in range, we should be able to hurt even more of these remaining cavalrymen. As I said, we are going to be regrouping at the bottom of the hill, and they're going to be doing the same over here, sending their cavalry to the wings, having their Cretans ready on the hill, standing on top of all of our dead bodies, and then the hoplite wall is going to be positioning here. Now these guys will take us pretty well head on in a straight fight, but we do have enough to just outmatch them in case they just decide to hold the hill because we have more archers. So it's going to be down to their concentrated body of Cretans to use their ammo effectively, knock out our archers, eliminate any threats from the side because their force is so small that their main threat is going to be a flank attack. So that's what we're going to try and do, is essentially wrap around the sides, and our opponents are going to try and present a front in the center and hold up the flanks here either with heavy pikemen, spears, or, as is the case over here, mass their cavalry for a counter charge. So now it's going to be down to our men charging up through the center. We're going to try and rally the rest of our troops. Most of this battlefield over here has been just, yeah, we've finished off all the Macedonians, and we're going to be scavenging the remainder of our troops here, moving them up, and getting ready to deploy. So now we're going to have the main charge here. Cretans are going to be repositioning, and we're getting our archers in a preliminary position to start hitting those forces. However, the Cretans do severely outrange us, especially on the hill. They're going to be having an advantage. So let's watch the barrage offered by these Macedonians, and some of their troops here are actually going to be out of ammo. Yeah, we were able to kill these guys, I believe, on an earlier charge. So the first ranks of archers are going to be able to do decent amounts of damage against our guys. However, we're going to be having a pretty good exchange with them. Actually, these troops looks like they're out of ammo. There are still archers remaining. So our guys are basically here just to soak up the fire. They're not intended to do too much damage. Soak up the fire, prepare for the charge of the troops now coming up the hill. So let's watch these guys. Pretty formidable sight. Not much they can do besides try and target the archers. Macedonian cav is now going to be reshifting, rebalancing. The archers are going to be pulled back. However, point blank range, they're still going to take out these guys. That's fine. As I said, it's just making room for these guys to charge up. Relatively lightly armed hillmen, however, they're going to be able to soak up fire very well. Our more heavily armed troops are going to come over here. Preemptive Macedonian strike on our archers is going to take them out. However, they're going to get caught up on our troops here. The rest of our forces are going to push up, and now we're going to have the second banks of archers now contributing to this fight, targeting all our troops right there, and the hoplites are going to be repositioning. They know that the main push is going to go here, so they're softening us up, and see how they formed in deep ranks? That's going to be perfect for holding us back. So the more we stand here, the more we're going to just take damage from those troops at the top of the hill. So we decide to just go ahead, charge forward, and my elite Persian archers are just destroying them from that side. Hails of arrows just nailing the sides of these, bathed in blood. So that's where we're going to decide to focus fire and just completely collapse these guys. So that entire unit was wiped out. We're now going to be moving forward, pressing the advantage on the sides. So at this point, all of the enemy forces have been engaged. We even were able to slip some troops up through the center here and charge them in the back. Now they're going to be facing the archers, firing point blank into the back. But with all their forces engaged, we can now move up with additional troops. So that's exactly what we're going to be doing here. My own forces up here are going to start pushing up. They do have cav up here that's been trying to counter us. However, we do have enough cataphracts here to hold them, but the additional skirmishers, or I mean hoplites here, should be able to push us back. It is to our advantage nonetheless if we can get these guys out of position, because it does mean less forces able to hold us back. So effective counter strikes with the cataphracts there. We're going to be repositioning for charges on these hoplites here. They're going to be trying to catch us, but I'm going to charge these guys straight into the archers. So that's going to crumble under the pressure right there. We can go ahead and take a look at what's going on in the front ranks. The hoplites are holding out very well, especially the troops who were not hurt by the archer fire. Even here, charged in the back, they're able to repulse our guys. Fire arrows doing additional damage. So we were able to mop up this unit, and now we have to charge basically straight into this unit of archers. Not going to be a huge problem, but if they do retreat and we get hit from the side, it will cause a problem. Now we're going to start shuffling all around. I'll flip on the arrow, what am I trying to say? The banners, just so you can get an appreciation for what's going at this point in time, and you can understand kind of the flanking that's going on. So full surrounds on forces here. As I said, we're exposed from a charge on the side by these horsemen, so they're doing a good job of defending their archers, and they're going to be able to do more and more damage on our guys as they reform. But, you know, elite Persian archers putting on fire onto these guys who are trying to help their forces out. Withering fire from these guys, the elite troops really get good shots off, and so they don't have enough cavalry left to just neutralize our archers. So even if they were to decimate all our guys already committed, we do still have more forces in the back here. A couple guys here and there, and mostly on this flank we have a full surround, but the reinforcements are coming. It's almost going to be a double sandwich at this point. Forces charging the backs of the backs of the backs of the ranks. So Macedonians, Persians, Macedonians, Persians. But the hoplite are very effective at countering these. You can see the back ranks have turned around, and they should be enough to just decimate our guys. However, in the center, it's going to be hotly contested. Let's watch over here. Another big scrum taking place here. countercharging our guys who are otherwise surrounding their troops. The dead bodies are going to be mixed, so it's kind of up in the air here until we get this rear charge from the cavalry up on the hill. That's going to be enough to finish these troops off. Yeah, really finishes these guys, breaks their morale, so they're not going to have much left. However, as I said before, we have just continuing waves of reinforcements from the various forces. So here, the king is still alive. He's going to charge in against some of these cataphract troops, launch some of their own men, and they're going to be attacking our guys. But we have cracked these forces. That's going to liberate these guys for another assault. Around here, we're still pressing. Macedonians are pretty much surrounded on all flanks, and even our archers with their daggers are getting in on the fight. Over on this flank, these guys are now routing. They still have some archers up there, but that's going to be it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this reenactment. We'll probably be doing more battles, try and restrict the rules a bit more, and try and do a full naval assault where our entire force is coming in from the sea. And then, yeah, try and do some more of that. Hopefully have the opponents use Athens and try and redo the Battle of Marathon. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed. I really like doing these guys. And, yeah, see you next time.